Hi again, everyone. I just want to take a little time to show you a little bit and tell you a little bit about a North American icon. Well, technically, I said North American icon, this dandelion here, because it's really found all over North America, but in reality, it's not really North American at all. This is a non-native that has so successfully spread all over the continent that you'll find it pretty much anywhere you look, especially like disturbed soils. And I wanted to talk about it for two reasons. One, of course, the famous way that it disperses its seeds. You get these flower heads that eventually turn into these puff balls. And of course, these puff balls will be carried by the wind. And that's one of the ways they can spread so easily, is the wind can just carry them away for miles and miles and miles, and until they land somewhere else. And so you can see just how many seeds there are in this little field right here, how easily that could spread. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was here with the flowers themselves. So I'm just going to pick one. If you look at it, it looks like a pretty normal kind of flower. It's a member of the aster family. And like all members of the aster family, its flower is actually made up of lots of little flowers that are all grouped together. So technically, each one of those little things in the middle there is a complete flower with petals and stamens and pistils and the whole bit in there. So interesting. Turns out the flowers on the very outside of the ring are the ones that will make the bigger petals that sort of make the shape of the entire, what we are going to call an inflorescence at the top. Inflorescence means a bunch of flowers all together. So they look like a single flower until you look at them closely and you see they're actually lots of individual flowers all grouped together. It can be really hard to see that even with a close-up look unless you know what you're looking for really carefully. But one of the things I wanted to mention about these flowers in particular is they have something kind of weird about them. So when you do look at them, they clearly have pollen and they have a smell. They smell a little bit like honey, and so it has all the things you would expect a flower that's going to attract insects like bees. And I think over here you can even see there's an insect diving right in. It looks like maybe an ant, and going in for the nectar. And I saw another one over here, a little bee, a native bee of some kind, doing the same thing, kind of going in for that. And you can see a lot of them have ants or bees or something that are on them, going in to get the stuff that's in there. And so we talk about that as how flowers do that, but there's something surprising about the dandelion. It turns out that it actually doesn't really pollinate. So even though it makes pollen and nectar and is attracting all these insects, it turns out that it has fertilized its seeds before it even gets to this point. So it's basically reproducing asexually. So kind of a surprise. How did it get to be so successful without the recombination that we're used to seeing? I don't really know. Why is it still making pollen and really flowers at all? It seems like it's wasting a lot of energy to do that. Again, I don't really know. It would seem like if it just kind of were able to go straight to the seed phase, just make the seeds, it would save itself a lot of energy and could maybe even make more seeds. But I think the idea is that maybe it's fairly recent in its evolution that it just lost its ability to actually cross-fertilize, and it just reproduces asexually. And these structures that we see here might be what we could call vestigial. Vestigial means a structure that used to be found in the ancestor and is still present even though it has no function anymore. So it may just be that it doesn't know how to make seeds without going through the whole process of making the flowers and the pollen and all that other stuff. Now, one thing I did notice is that these flowers here, they don't smell quite as strong as what I'm used to. They don't seem to have quite as much pollen on them as what I'm used to. I used to kind of expect if I'd rub my finger on it like that like my whole finger would turn bright yellow. And I'm not getting that here. So it may be that it is slowly, changing to not make as much pollen. And that's complete speculation on my part. I really don't know. I'm just noticing that in this moment. But that's something just wanted to mention, the kind of famous dandelion. It's really well known as a weed. It actually has some really important herbal properties as well. I know a lot of people will use the root of it for various things, including a simple one is just roast the root and then you can grind it up and make a drink that tastes quite a bit like coffee, in case you're trying to cut out your caffeine. In fact, some places they even use that commercially for that. And so with that, I think I will go ahead and sign off for this one. Enjoy.